Agents Kyle Seraphin.
I'm familiar with the name.
Is that yes?
I'm familiar with the name. I'm familiar with the name. I'm familiar with the name.
Joining me now is a frequent guest of the show, former FBI special agent, whistleblower as well, Kyle Seraphin.
Let's bring in Kyle Seraphin. He's the FBI whistleblower who helped expose government censorship of our First Amendment rights.
Now, we only have this memo because a recently suspended FBI agent called Kyle Seraphin brought it to the public, and we're grateful that he did. Kyle, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
He's the host of something that strangely is called The Kyle Seraphin Show. Follow him on Twitter. I'm Sebastian Gorka. I'll call you later. We'll talk guns. We'll talk optics.
Perfect, man. God bless you, brother. Thank you for standing up for the truth, man. Thank you for coming on. Thanks.
Well, so Kyle, thank you so much for joining us. Great chatting with you.
Kyle Seraphin, thank you.
Kyle Seraphin, I can't thank you enough for speaking out. I knew you guys were out there, and I knew it was just a matter of time, but you got a lot of guts putting your face and your name to this. You're doing a service on behalf of the American people, and from the bottom of my cracked and broken heart sometimes, thank you very much.
Take a look behind the curtain with a real whistleblower and American patriot. Prepare to embrace the uncomfortable truth because this program has no time for comforting lies. Here is civil liberties enthusiast, Second Amendment defender, and recovering FBI agent Kyle Seraphin.
Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to the Kyle Seraphin Show. Today is Tuesday. It's October the 31st. That makes it Halloween. So happy Halloween. Are you wearing a costume? Are you a child wearing a costume to work? If you're a parent, you get a pass. That's it in my book. Grown-ups don't need to be wearing costumes. That being said, I totally would wear a costume with my kids. In fact, I don't want to tell you guys something that's too much detail, but my son and I might have matching Ghostbusters costumes. It's the only costume that I ever want to wear because it's a flight suit, most comfortable thing in the world. Nothing like wearing pajamas. Also, what's better than the original Ghostbusters? Nothing. Almost nothing, I would say to you, is better than that movie when it comes to just pure entertainment and good times. So it's Halloween, and in order to that, we're going to do a little show that is a bit spooky. It's about a man who got arrested for doing something you thought you were supposed to be able to do in this country. Freedom of the press, freedom of speech. I'm not talking about Owen Schroyer. We're talking about Hernando Arce, and you are going to get a little taste of his story. It's not even free here in Texas when the local law enforcement decide to put the kibosh on the things that you think you can do. Walk around, report on what's happening around you, especially the things that the government is doing wrong. I thought we had that ability in this country. We are slowly losing it, and we lose it even worse if we don't stand up and engage in it. Before we get to this interview, I think you guys are going to enjoy. I want to say thanks to CatholicVote.org, the perennial sponsor and the marquee sponsor of our podcast, CatholicVote.org. You guys know how to get there. CatholicVote.org. Sign up for the loop. You'll get a great series of emails every morning, and it will help you out. And we also want to say thanks to our friends over at Patriot Coolers. Put together a little promo video for you guys. I think you'll like this. Let's say thanks to Patriot, and then we will get right into this interview. Today's podcast is sponsored in part by Patriot Coolers. You can find them at their website, patriotcoolers.com. You can also find them on social media at Patriot Coolers. Make sure if you order one of these fine products that you tag me as well because I like seeing them. As a gearhead, you guys know I love seeing it. I like retweeting it. I like retruthing it and sharing it. Check out their page for hard-sided coolers, soft-sided backpacks and carryable coolers, and of course, the tumblers, which I've been carrying with me on and off duty since about 2017. They're a great company. They've got a great product. They support our show, and they support disabled veterans. Visit patriotcoolers.com. Use my promo code Kyle, that's easy to remember, K-Y-L-E, and support a brand that supports what you do. Patriot Coolers out of Houston, Texas, America is a good company with a great name that you don't mind showing off. Again, patriotcoolers.com. Using promo code Kyle, K-Y-L-E, to get 10% off, and shipping over $50 is always free. And we appreciate you supporting those who support our show. All right, folks, and without any further ado, let's get right to the interview with Mr. Hernando Arce. Ladies and gentlemen, you are joining the Kyle Seraphin Show for another interview. This one is a man who is out there making trouble in the world, someone that we can appreciate on the Kyle Seraphin Show, someone who is holding government to account, which is what we're all about, and has been a frontline witness to not just
the bad policies, but I would say he's experienced a little bit of the sort of the teeth of what comes in when you piss off the state. We are bringing in Hernando Arce. Hernando, who told me the gringo pronunciation is Hernando, but that's the way he does it, not Hernando, as you might if you live in San Antonio too long. Hernando, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Hey, thank you, Kyle. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you, Ryan.
So I see you got a Trump hat on. Who are you trying to upset with that Trump hat, my friend?
Well, you know, the story behind his Trump hat, every time he gets indicted, I go to the TrumpStore.com and I buy a different color hat. So I got about 4 of these hats.
Outstanding. All right, I want to talk about who you are and how you came to our attention. We're going to get into all of that. It's going to culminate up. We got a video that we're going to show in probably a little bit here of you pissing off the right people in the wrong place. But let's start off with who you are as a person. Where'd you grow up, my friend?
Hey, well, I'm a political refugee asylum from the People's Republic of New York.
Yes.
Yes.
Behind enemy territory.
I did escape 10 years ago to a sovereign state of San Antonio, Texas, thinking that the Texas culture of come and take it would stand up to tyranny. Unfortunately, I've been a little bit disappointed the last 2 years, as we saw from COVID to now with the illegal immigration crisis, the invasion, that that these men and women here in Texas have so far let me down. But I'm going to stand up, and hopefully we'll get this. Will be to defeat the tyranny in this state and the country.
Amen to that. Let me ask you a question. What part of New York did you grow up in?
Brooklyn, New York.
You grew up in Brooklyn. My wife's from Brooklyn. Yeah. So tell me about growing up in Brooklyn. What year were you born, and what was Brooklyn like at that time?
Well, I was born in the year 1969, so I'm 54 years old, and I was born and raised in New York City. My whole life. I love the city. It's a special place for me, but I had to leave the city because I tell my friends it lost its soul. I see it as a soul that it lost. I think during the days of Mayor de Blasio 8 years ago. So unfortunately, it's cesspool, and anyone who's living in these big cities needs to get out of them, like Chicago, LA, and New York. It's not. You don't want to be there if you're a conservative.
When you were a kid growing up in Brooklyn, you got to see some of the rough times. Like in the 70s, it was pretty rough, right? And in the 80s as well. My wife saw that. It got better and it got worse again. Can you kind of talk about the transition you were able to see? Because I think that's a unique lens to be able to look at what's going on in our country now.
I remember those. It was the 80s. It was still bad. It was Mayor Dinkins in New York City, because I'm from New York City, not upstate New York. Different culture up there. But it was very bad. The city. My mother, God bless her soul, she raised 7 children by herself. Never took a dollar of welfare. She drove a yellow taxi cab. She didn't even speak any English. She was an immigrant, but she came here the right way during the 1964 when they, after JFK was assassinated. He was trying to build to open up the borders. A lot of people don't notice, but they wanted to open up the border legally to migrants, not just from Europe, Anglo-Saxons, but from South America and the Caribbean. So my mom was part of that surge of legal migration. She became a citizen in 1980. Right? But to answer your question, yes, she's been robbed. I've been robbed as a cab driver, driving a cab in New York City in the 90s while I was in college. Thank God, Rudy Giuliani came in, who was an attorney general, right, a federal attorney general. He cleaned it up. He cleaned it up real quickly, and so I was able to live, my adulthood during the great times of the 90s and the 2000s, where it was a great time to live in New York. Not anymore.
Yeah. Did you say you were driving a cab in New York City?
Yeah, I drove a cab. It was a family business.
Yeah.
My
Did you guys have a medallion?
We own the medallion. Yes, we bought a medallion. And that's another story in itself. I don't know how much time we have on this.
Let's talk about it, because some of the advent of Uber and Lyft and this screwed over the cab drivers that really worked there. I mean, people would mortgage their houses to get these medallions. Tell people about what that's about.
Well, I know the yellow taxi industry intimately because me and my partner back in 1992, we noticed that there was a market, there was a niche for a publication in the industry. As I was driving a cab, I noticed that there was no publication, no magazine. So me and my friend, who's my mentor, Carl Sen, who's like my father because I didn't grow up with a dad. We started a publication called Taxi Magazine, and within 6 months we were had 60 advertisers. And about advertising, it's all about the publishing business is all about the advertisers. So it's $1 billion industry, and it's controlled by the Jewish people, and I love my Jewish people. What's going on in Israel right now. I learned a lot through my Israeli friends and my Jewish people in that industry. the godfather his name was Andy Greenbaum, was the godfather of the industry. He's passed on now, but the medallion value has skyrocketed. When my mother bought it, it was $75,000. And to 2000, I think in 2000, I'm not sure about the year 2008 is when Uber came around. And at the height of the market, the medallion, which is a cap market of only 13,000 yellow taxi cabs in a city of 8 million people, only 13,000 yellow cabs, the medallion value went up to $1.2 million.
Yeah, well, I want to explain that to people that are not from New York. Like I said, I have a unique insight because my wife grew up around there. I've been around cab drivers. I've been around kind of the interesting piece of it. So you had to buy in to get the medallion, which gives you the license to operate a cab. Is it one cab, or can you do multiple cabs under the same medallion?
You could do individual, you could do corporation, they called it.
Okay. But it's kind of like it's like a cartel. It's kind of like, to be a realtor, you got to go to the realtors, you got to get the license there from them, and they create it. And the cab thing is the same game. You've got to buy in to the cab game in New York City historically.
Yeah. And back then it's a free market. If you got the down payment, you purchase a medallion, which is a metal piece like this that goes in the hood of the car, Ford or whatever vehicle you had, Chevy, and then you get your insurance and you're good to go. And you sell it on the open market, through a taxi broker, through a yellow taxi broker. So yeah, I was intimately in the industry, and unfortunately, I don't know. It's a free market. Uber and Lyft came around. I remember that day that they came around. The value of the yellow cab went from 1.2 million down to like 600,000.
Yeah, and so many people, a lot of immigrants, they basically put everything on the line to be able to have a medallion to buy into this, and now suddenly you got like college kids out there driving around with their hoopties, right?
Yeah, a lot of people went bankrupt. They went foreclosures. They gave it back to the city. They over leveraged on it. They over borrowed on it. So I think the yellow cab medallion right now is currently worth around $300,000-$400,000, which is a lot of money for a yellow cab in a city, but it is New York City, just like everything else in New York is expensive.
Yeah, sure, but it's an interesting to see. You also saw Giuliani come in. You were just talking about that. They call him America's mayor. Were you happy to see Giuliani when he took over up there?
Yeah, he lost the first time he ran for election. He lost by a small percentage, and the second time around he got in. So yeah, it was he went after. He started a program which is no national, but there's people misinterpret it. It's called Stop, Question, and Frisk. Okay, it's not Stop and Frisk. It's Stop, Question, and then Frisk. And that was very important because that went after the criminals, the low hanging criminals that were breaking windows. You heard about the broken window analogy, right?
Yep.
You go after the person that breaks the window and put him in jail, and make that. Then that causes the other crimes, the more serious crimes, to not happen. So that was his theory, and it worked. Along with the commissioner, I forgot his name. He just died last month. But yeah, Giuliani cleaned up. It was all about the crime. Once he cleaned up the crime, there was a saying in Times Square that because Times Square was like all prostitution and everything like that. But I won't go into that. But
it used to be a pretty rough neighborhood to go rolling around in Times Square.
I mean, I've been robbed. My mom's been robbed. Driving a cab back in the late '80s. He came in 1992, so he just turned it around and he brought in big corporations. Wall Street is a big thing out there. The fashion market is a big thing out there. And it was a great time to be alive in the 90s. When I was in my college days driving a cab, and into the 2000s, because Mayor Bloomberg. Okay, he took over Giuliani's policy, even though he's a lefty, right? We all know he's one of these George Soros kind of guys. But when he was mayor, he was smart enough to acknowledge that, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So he kept Giuliani's policies. Bloomberg's legacy was the West Side Hudson Yards city. He created his own city. That was his legacy. Bloomberg's legacy. Giuliani's legacy was that he made New York great again, just like Trump makes America great again.
No, you're right. And it's kind of fun because I remember watching the Batman movies, the 80s with Michael Keaton in it, you remember, and they showed Gotham City, and like that's what people that were not from New York thought New York looked like. And I don't think it was that far off in some ways in certain neighborhoods. And the legacy was that Giuliani came in and cleaned it up. Now, the rep that he gets, because they're obviously smearing him because he associated with Trump, was that policy was inherently racist. So you've got an immigrant mother. You're a guy that's out there driving a cab. That's like about the most blue collar thing you can do in New York City, but you get to see everything as well. Is that a racist policy from where you stood? Did it make people who are either black or Hispanic, were they less safe because of those kind of policies?
Well, let's just be frank here. Let's just look at the facts, man. In terms of race, I mean, we're talking black, Spanish, white, whatever, right?
Yeah.
You and I know that 50 or 70, depending on the crime, but it's up there 50 to 65% of the crime is committed by black people, black men, generally.
And often black victims too is the other funny thing, because it's like, who's going to be the victim of the crime? People around you.
Black on black crime is big as well. But listen, stop questioning Chris. You're not going to go to you're going to go to where the crime is. And unfortunately, the black man in New York and across the country represents only 8% of the population. However, they are responsible for 50 to 65% of the crime. So I never saw it as a race thing, and it's putting a race aside. It's just looking at the facts,
Just running down, like, this is the population set that we're looking into. Obviously, it's not all 8% of the black men in the world are doing this sort of thing. So, so that's the other sad thing. So you get guys who are decent get smeared, but an effective policy obviously turned New York City into a very livable place, and then leftist policies turned it to the opposite. They've been slowly doing on a decline right now. How bad's it got to get in New York City, you think? You got friends still back there and family, I imagine. How bad's it got to get?
I have family out there, man. It's a rat race, man. The quality of life is so terrible. Unless you're one of that 1% that lives in Manhattan on Second Avenue or whatever. It's just the subway system is falling apart. The infrastructure is falling apart. It's just there's no for the love of humanity amongst each other. It's real tough out there, and it won't get any better. And if it does, if we do get, because this Mayor Eric Adams is a joke. He was a police commissioner committed to be tough on crime, and he lied to the people. He's out there, he's over there in South America somewhere, Central America on vacation.
He's going to the Dominican Republic too with the police department, apparently.
Yeah, I think he has a girlfriend in the Dominican Republic. That's why.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like J-Lo.
That's right.
I think it's not going to get any better. And if they do pick another Mayor Giuliani, oh my God, it's going to take at least 10 years for it to turn around, man. And it doesn't happen overnight. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. So I think New York City is a lost city for now.
I think it's certainly on my no-go places of going to live.
Oh, man. Listen, you want to hear a quick story? I still have a condo over there in Brooklyn, right? Okay. Where I live. I had a tenant, bro. She's on fucking 16 months of not paying me rent, bro. And I'm still fighting to get her out, man. The whole system is broken.
16? Did you say 16 months? 1-6?
Yeah, since last May, she hasn't paid me rent. You do the numbers. On top of that, she calls in the Housing Preservation Department. She damages my unit and then calls in the Housing Preservation Department to give me violations on my apartment. I have 30 violations. I got to fix it that she created, putting cement in my pipes or whatever, all this crazy shit. And on top of it, she's not paying my rent. So if you're a landlord, it's not a landlord-friendly city either.
No, my father-in-law just sold his place there and got out of Brooklyn as well, and now he went down to Florida like everybody. Even though he's kind of like a commie, he kind of likes the idea of nobody owning property. Very, very left-leaning kind of dude, kind of a funny guy. But classic New York move, right? It's like, I got to abandon New York, but I'm going to go bring my bad ideas somewhere else. Unlike you, here's something else that occurs to me. You lived in the 90s and the 2000s in New York when Trump was not a political candidate. Talk to me about how people in New York saw Trump before the presidency.
Oh my God! Listen, Trump. He's been someone that's always been in the news ever since the '80s in New York City. He was always front page news because it's sold papers. Anything he touches makes money, right? Bad news. There's no such thing as bad publicity. He went through a divorce with his first wife, but people looked up to him. I mean, everybody looked. Oprah Winfrey looked up to him. Everybody looked up to him. He was in Hollywood. Everyone loved him. I have a little bias towards him because he grew up in Queens, and I grew up in Queens too. After I was, born in Brooklyn, I grew up in Queens, and so I used to drive by his house in Jamaica Estates. Once I knew who he was, that's Trump's house. He doesn't live there anymore. He lives in the city, but big, beautiful house with Georgian pillars on the front. Modest home. I think they're going to make it a museum actually. But he was great, man. I got into real estate. I do real estate as well here, and I got into real estate because I was in college and I read The Art of the Deal, his first book, The Art of the Deal, and he inspired me to get into real estate, which I've been successful for 28 years too. So I have a special place in my heart for him. Of course, I voted for him, and I want to vote for him next year.
It's kind of amazing how much of a slur he's gotten, right? I mean, he's gotten just bad mouth left and right. But like you say, he was a guy that people called. Well, on 9/11, he was out there talking about what he saw, the twin towers. He was a scion of New York, and it didn't matter political left or right. Just the minute he jumped into the Republican side of things, he was suddenly big hate. So, all right, so you're wearing the hat.
Yeah.
And you believe in some of the policies. You voted for the man, but you've been getting yourself into some trouble. You moved down to Texas. You adopted. Why'd you move to a blue state like San Antonio? What's that all about?
Well, my sister lives here, so I want to be close to my little sister.
Okay. And what do you think? When you first got there, how long you been there? 10 years, you said?
Yeah, going on 10 years this year.
Okay. Tell me about how San Antonio has changed in the last 10 years.
Well, it's a lot. The quality of life is much better. I can tell you that much. The price, the cost of living is a lot cheaper, is inexpensive. People here are genuinely nice, man. Like the biggest thing I had to get over coming here was I was trying to detox from New York, right? Was that people would ask you, "Hey, how you doing?" And they would really want a genuine answer. They weren't fake about it. So they were like, "Oh, how you doing?" I'm like, "What's it for you? Just give me my coffee. I gotta go."
You take the New York City. It's like taking a junkyard dog and taking them for a walk in a nice park.
It still comes out at me. Sometimes I don't have patience for these people here. They're really slow, and but they're sweet. It's a family town. San Antonio is a family town. It's also a military town. We got 3 or 4 major military bases. So I love San Antonio. It's quaint. I love it, and I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm in Texas, because Texas is the last state in the union. We lose Texas, we lose the country. So. And
you're in a city where that's kind of you get to see a lot of the blue aspects of it, I think, right?
Yeah, I think there's Marxist. 8 of the 10 council members are lefties. They don't know me. I go to the council meetings. And I don't just stand up for this immigration crisis. I've been standing up for abortion. Protesting that here, along with all the other social issues here. There's a couple other ones.
So you got Latino heritage, and you are apparently you said you're against abortion, you're against illegal immigration, you're against all the things that the leftists have been out there pushing, like this is somehow like it's supposed to be a Black and Hispanic issue, that we're supposed to open the borders up and we're supposed to kill all the babies. Can you talk about how you're maybe growing up formed some of those opinions?
Yeah. I mean, they try to box us into politics party because we're a color of our skin is ridiculous. You're Catholic. I'm Catholic, right? Mm-hmm. I'm also Christian. I'm a hybrid Christian. I'm a hybrid Christian, half Catholic. I call myself a hybrid Christian. But yeah, we have those traditional values. We believe there's two sexes, 2 genders. We believe in conception of birth, the baby, when against abortion. But there are a lot of people that are, that say they're Christian and they don't, it's not politically correct to say that. So, it's sad. It's sad to say where we're losing. The fastest religion in this country now is atheism. Secularism is the fastest growing religion in our country, which is sad. But as a Catholic here and a Christian, we stand for secure borders and fiscal responsibility, sound currency, and we don't have any of that. We don't have any of that.
No,
we're going backwards.
We are. I want you to think about in your daily life. You go out, you buy a cup of coffee, you go to the grocery store. If you were to walk out of a grocery store line and they hand you your thing, whatever it is, coffee or your food or something, and you would say, "God bless you" at the end of it, how would that be received where you live?
Actually, pretty well.
Yeah.
I live in New York.
What if you said that in New York? What would it look like?
Nah, man, they won't say it. They won't repeat it back to you. When I came here 8 years ago, it's funny you say that because when I came here, I went to Whataburger, which is like McDonald's out there in the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
I went to Whataburger, and I was in the car the first night. My sister's driving me back to her home, and in the freaking window of Whataburger here in San Antonio, it said something, God bless you. I was like, whoa, what is that? It says God bless you. Mm-hmm. It took me back, man. I was like, wow, I'm in Texas now, but
yeah. How many people have told you have a blessed day? You ever hear that?
I hear it every day, bro. People here are still, Christians they're strong here, man. Just that we still have those knuckleheads that Unfortunately, the younger crowd, it looks like a 34, 30 and under, they're just being indoctrinated in their college and high schools, and I could see it. People with the women with the blue hair and the yellow hair, and earring in their nose, like they live in Zimbabwe, Africa, or Congo, Africa. You could spot those people a mile away.
They're nutty. Where are they from? Where are they coming from? They didn't grow up here. Like, you got about 10 years on me. And I grew up mostly in Texas. I came here in maybe third grade, I guess I first came here. I came from California, so also a refugee. And we have that commonality. Like I said, my wife's from New York. I'm from California. We both came from terrible places. Both became Americans by living here. I did it a lot earlier. But there's something weird. Like, why is that 10 years later, I think it would have been weird in my childhood. It was obviously weird in your childhood. The tattoos, the hair coloring, the piercings in your face. Like, that used to be like a punk rock thing.
I tell you, Kyle.
Now it's mainstream.
When I see women tattooed all over their body,
on their face. Where did that start happening?
God, Kyle, please. And the men, they're like soy boys, like they're soft. The younger generation, they don't have any testosterone. I think it's in the water, like Alex Jones said. I don't know what's going on with the men here, but man, it's pretty scary, bro.
It doesn't seem to have affected you. You're just a regular guy.
I'm a regular alpha male.
Yeah, you eat meat.
Male. Sorry.
Do you eat meat? You're just toxic on every level.
Meat. I love my beef and chicken, man. I love my chicken tacos because you're in Texas, so you gotta eat tacos.
Oh yeah, for sure. Do you guys have a Torchy's down there in San Antonio?
Yes, we get Torchy's everywhere now.
Isn't that crazy?
Tacos, but they're good.
They're good. They're just street tacos. They're like street tacos for gringos.
Okay. Yeah.
I went to Torchy's back when it was just a little hut. It was a trailer. Okay, my wife and I, we met in Austin. Like I said, we came together here, and I naturalized her. She owns guns now. Do you own guns? Do you own firearms?
Of course.
Did you own any?
I have one right here. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm always packing, bro.
Yeah, you're in the right show for that.
And I have it positioned properly. I don't have it in my glove compartment. I don't have it in my.
Yeah, you were a cabbie. You got to know.
I have it right here. Cabbie. I couldn't own a cab. I couldn't own a gun in New York City. Come on, man.
Isn't that something?
New York City. My defense was a hammer. I had a hammer under my seat as a cab driver.
No, you didn't. All right, what do we got there? Is that looks like a SIG?
It's a Bertha.
Oh, Bertha. Okay, I've shot those.
Made in Argentina. Can you?
I know it. I can. They do okay though. They make a decent firearm, Bertha. I don't hate them. All right, so you got your piece there, ready to go, and you had to carry a hammer when you lived in New York City. What is that?
That's your gun. I mean, that's your defensive mechanism.
What are they carrying in? What are they carrying in New York City today?
So in New York, you can't
carry an extra wallet.
Permit. To get a permit, practically impossible and very expensive, right?
Right.
If you live in New York State, upstate New York, you can own a long gun.
Yeah.
Without any problems. But I didn't live in upstate New York. I lived in the 5 boroughs of New York City. You can't own a gun.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've just recently, hopefully they've just changed it. I'm just wondering, like, you used to carry a hammer. That's like a meathead weapon to go after somebody with a hammer. I can imagine the guys that are, think about the Uber guys. What are they carrying right now? They carry an extra wallet with more cash just to beg off and try to buy their way out of it?
I don't know what the fuck they carry. I don't care. I'm not there anymore. It's their problem.
It's so sad. All right. So let's talk about some of this thing. You said abortion is a problem. Have you protested in front of abortion clinics ever? You ever been that?
Sir. Yes, sir.
You got any concerns that the FBI would look at you for doing that? What you've been hearing?
I think they already have a file on me, bro. When they arrested me last week, they got my information. So, even before last week, I know they got a file on me. That's, it's already given already, bro. We're at that time. We're at that stage now of tyranny, bro.
That's wild. I'm going to have Ryan queue up and play a video for both of us in a second here because I was working on a movie with a guy named Dinesh D'Souza, who you may have heard of. And okay, so Dinesh made a movie with us and I was in it. It was called Police State. We're going to play the trailer in a second here, actually, as part of this because I want your reaction to it as well. You say they've got a file on you. Could you imagine growing up the way you did, let's say 10 years ago and all the way the rest of your life? Could you imagine like that the law enforcement would have a file on you because you were outside of an abortion clinic or that you had a problem with illegal immigration? Does that even make sense?
Never would have thought we'd come to this type of journey. Never in my lifetime. But it is an exciting time to be alive because we're living through, months and years that won't happen for decades. What's happening now is so quickly that it's an exciting time to be alive. as long as you know what your true north is, what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's evil.
Tell me a little bit more about that. I've never heard anyone call it exciting, but I kind of like your attitude about it. That sounds fun. Tell me about the exciting time because of what they've been. What do you see them moving, they being, let's say, the government? What is going on that is making it exciting?
Oh, we're living in a lifetime where since World War II, it's been a very passive time frame where, you had economic growth, you had prosperity, you had ups and downs, but never to the amount of tyranny and corruption as we have now. And so I find it exciting because, I'm a patriot. I love the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and so many people are so uneducated about it. But I wake up every day and I say, what could I do to me, it's like a documentation. I got a Rumble account, and so I put everything on my Rumble account and of course on X. But I want to be, and I don't have any children. I'm a single man, never married, no kids. So sometimes I think that God had, and I could ask God, why didn't I never get married? Why didn't I have any children? It's such a blessing to have that. And I think God has a purpose for me, and this may be that purpose. I'm fighting with that a little bit, but going back and forth with it. But I do think this is my mandate that God gave me.
Isn't it interesting? Like we have a plan for our life. God has a different plan. I feel like all the time. I'm also Catholic. It was one of my reasons why I ended up leaving the FBI. And it's if you stand up for principles, it doesn't really work out. They don't really like that. It turns out they being whatever the powers that be.
Yeah, it's very unfortunately, but that's the world we live in. So you gotta, if they want to fight, we'll come and get it because we're gonna give them a fight.
Yeah, how about that? All right, so I wanted to give people a taste of who you were as a person before we talk about the situation. There's nothing fair about someone being in the news, having your name pop as a headline, arrested for this thing. Nobody knows any backstory. I wanted to get to the backstory first, and then we're going to talk about your arrest there. Ryan's got our police state trailer queued up. I'm going to have him play the trailer. I'm going to have you reflect on it. Then we're going to play your video that got you arrested, and then I want you to kind of tell us more about that day, if that sounds good to you. Does that work? Okay, outstanding. Ryan, let's roll that. Let's roll the police state trailer. Do the short one. We don't need to do the long one, but let's see what this is, and then we're gonna get a reaction here.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Chief Division Counsel and DOJ have approved a no-knock for each. We want the subject to be on display, doing the walk of shame, full visual impact. Any questions?
Are we becoming a police state?
Government told American citizens they couldn't go to church on Sunday.
I've never seen anything like it. It may be the Russia other people grew up in, but not my America.
FBI warrant, come to the door now!
There's a heavy banging at my door. Open up! It's 15 marked units on my property. I got SWAT in the back of my house.
They took a battering ram to my door.
6 a.m. I hear boom, 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 and hear about 6 to 8 military-style soldiers, with the tallest one of them pointing an automatic rifle at my head.
You have an arrest warrant. Shock you out of sleep, drag you out of your house half clothed, refuse to give you a warrant, ransack your house.
Now I'm facing 15 years in federal prison
for doing nothing other than exercising my right to free speech.
I had no reason to be attacked.
I hope that you remember Matt's name and the role you played in killing him.
How did we give the state this kind of power?
9/11 changed everything.
We're going to expand the Bureau from law enforcement to domestic intelligence. Legal shackles are now off.
It used to be Islamic terrorism. That threat has kind of dissipated.
Our focus is shifting.
They're moving to domestic extremism. Really paints anybody who's right of center.
What we need is a person to look at. And then we go find out what crime you did.
If you're a pro-life, pro-family Catholic, they define you as radical.
The demand for domestic terrorism vastly outstrips the supply. When candidate Trump came down the escalators, the government had a meltdown.
We are going to drain the swamp. We'll see about that.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
The Patriot Act and FISA were used against Donald Trump. Google literally rewrote their news algorithm based upon what Trump was doing so they could get this guy. You just take out the word Russiagate and you put in COVID origins. You take out COVID origins and you put in Hunter Biden's laptop. You take that out and you put in January 6th. It's the replicated play from the deep state and their partners in the media.
They're not just deplatforming you. They are trying to throw people in prison.
If they're coming for me, they're coming for you.
Hands on your head. These are anti-government, violent extremists, and they must be dealt with. We can do anything we want.
Police State. Exclusively in theaters, October 23rd and 25th. Tickets sold only on policestatefilm.net.
Hernando, I see you nodding along. What do you think about all that?
That's pretty powerful document. And congratulations, you being on that film with Denise D'Souza. All his documentaries are awesome, and I've seen every one of them. What did I think about it? I think it's pretty scary, to be honest. I mean, you say you're not scared. That's a lie. It's bullshit. You know, we're all human beings. It's scary because it's coming to our doorstep, man. The deep state, the police state, like the documentary shows. So it's pretty eerie. You know, watching it, I could see that. I could see myself in that. Not to boast about myself.
Sure.
But I could see myself being arrested like that, and I was last week. But you know, doing time like J6ers that are still rotting in jail 2 years later, 2.5 years later. So
let's talk about what got you your was that your first tango with law enforcement that I saw the video of the other day?
Yeah, it's the first time with SAPD in any of my actions, protests, my peaceful protests.
And theoretically, you have a right to do that sort of thing in this country.
Yes, I do. And yeah, I do. And just be more specific about, you know, this welcoming center they call it. I call it the illegal immigration human trafficking. I've been documenting that since the day it opened up, day one. Me and my posse, which is I want to give a shout out. Beyond the Mask.
Yep.
They're on. Yeah, they're on.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Plug their socials if you want to, so people can see it.
Thank you, Kyle. Beyond the Mask, because this started during the COVID mask lockdowns, right? You know, where they told us you go home and put on a fucking mask wherever you go in the stores. Us patriots here in San Antonio, we got together and made a group. You know, Jerry, Chantel, Michelle, April. You know, these are warriors like me that watch the word warrior, okay? Because the deep state, the police state will use that against me in the future right now with this clip. You think we're doing this clip now? They're going to use it against me because I just said this warriors. Okay, that's how they operate. But yeah, beyond the mask, we started not taking the vaccine, not taking the fucking mask. And we moved forward now with immigration. I've been there from day one documenting this invasion, and I got tons of clips and images since we started filming last July of 2022.
Okay, tell me about the invasion.
The invasion is happening right here before our eyes. I say it's about 10 million right now. I know the media says 6 or 7, but it's probably 10 because there's so many different categories of these refugee asylums that are coming in, along with the ones that are coming in where we see every day through the border of Arizona and New Mexico and Texas, which is the largest border state of the 2,000 miles. There's also, you know, the ones that are coming that no one's talking about, which is the special protection refugees for refugee asylum. Special protection status. Venezuela, Nicaragua, Cuba, and Haiti. Did you know that fiscal year of 2023, they already entered into our interior over 200,000 of those. 200,000. No one talks about that. They actually fly into airports all across our country with this refugee asylum. They're not going through the southern border. They're going in through your plane into the cities near you. So no one talks about that. Along
Where do
with
they
political
go?
migration. Well, they're applying for refugee asylum, but they have special protection. You know, they're not coming from these other 150 countries. Although we do see a lot of Venezuelans at the center, there's also a program where they actually apply, but when they apply, they actually get to fly in to any city in this country, like New York, Chicago. I would imagine are the big hubs. So, the reason I say that, bro, is because I've been binge watching the Center for Immigration Services, CIS. It's on YouTube. I just realized they had these great videos. Like since last week, I've been missing out for the whole year or so. The Center for Immigration Studies. The Center for Immigration Studies. Whoever's watching this needs to go on there because it's the same. I'm watching the YouTube videos. They're getting 20 views, 50 views. There should be 2 million views on these guys. They're a great study, not-for-profit organization, but they inform you. And I've learned so much just by watching that, which that stat I just gave you, I just learned 3 days ago.
And they're a think tank, I think. Is that right? The Center for Immigration Studies?
Yeah, March something is the guy who started it up.
Okay.
And I've been watching him for years because I can go on, but I had a YouTube back in 2013 when Obama was president. And, you know, that surge of DACA, the Deferred Action Children Amendment, you know, with DACA. And those are kids that came here in the 90s. They're already, you know, they're probably already grandfathers by now. But yeah, but that's a great site, man. I recommend it highly.
So you're out there educating yourself. You're watching nonprofits. You're watching some of these videos that are available. You're looking up. And what did you find out was happening in San Antonio in your backyard that made you kind of get active?
Oh, with the illegal immigration?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I mean, hell, I've been fighting this fight since I was in New York. Like I said, I'm a true refugee asylum seeker from New York. I escaped New York to come to Texas, right?
I like it.
Seriously, bro. And I do not want to see what happened to my town happen here, man. That's why I'm so passionate about it. I didn't recognize my town when I left, which was Jackson Heights, Corona, Queens, New York. And anyone who knows New York City knows about Jackson Heights, Corona, Queens, where my family grew up, you know, where I grew up as a young man too. So I didn't recognize it. I got a video of it on my YouTube. U.S. Border Patrol was my channel. And I, with my camera, this is 10 years ago, going down the boulevard saying, look, this is like a third world country. The sidewalks are full of vendors. It was chaos, just like it is now still. So I don't want that happening here. So I took on my iPhone. I got a bullhorn. I wear my red cap and I go start documenting, talking to these people, you know, because I speak Spanish. So I'm able to communicate. What's your story? Everybody has a story. You know, it's great. It's great content if you can grab it, man. So, that's what I do. So
yeah,
last week was a little different.
Yeah, last week was a little different. What are some of the stories that you're hearing? And then we're going to get into exactly, how you found yourself on the wrong side of the law, allegedly.
Well, listen, from people I interview, I meet some shady characters and I met some real nice people, meet people, The common core I get is like the common response I get from them is, because I tell them the situation and why I'm documenting my opinion. And they all gave me the same answer. Well, America's a country of immigrants, and as a Christian, you should remember Jesus with the one loaf of bread and one fish, and he made it multiply. That's the kind of shit I get all the time with these people. So they have some type of righteousness, bro.
Yeah.
Some of them are humble, like, I'm sorry I came here illegal. They know they're illegal. They know they're not looking for refugee asylum. They come here for the same words they use, un mejor futuro, which means a better future, right?
Sure.
Un mejor futuro. Hello, that does not qualify for refugee asylum. And I tell them that, and they look at me like I have 3 eyeballs. Well, then why am I here? They probably thinking. They know they're playing the system, which is a felony, by the way, a federal felony. If you lie on a application. So I hear different stories. I heard one guy, talking about his beautiful. I have it on tape. Beautiful two young girls and his wife. The Mexican police are the worst. Out of all the countries going up from Panama up, Mexican state police are the worst. They steal you. They'll rob you. They'll hurt you, and they'll rape the women. This guy told me that the state police made him undress his wife and bend over, and they would get it off on that or whatever. But almost every Venezuelan I talk to say the Mexican state police is the worst.
And that's something.
Yep.
Yeah, you mentioned something about asylum and kind of the misuse of the words. You grew up in the 70s. I grew up in the 80s. I remember those as a kid. We had people that came into this country and sought asylum. They'd fly in on like a big 28, right, from the Russians, and they would land on an Air Force base, and they would say, I'm claiming asylum. Like, if I go home, they'll kill me, right? Like, that was asylum, that the government wants to kill you. But these people are just looking for a better future.
You can't have 160 countries, people from 160 countries come in, and they're all saying that it's a refugee asylum. Hello, there is no civil war going on in those countries. There's no genocide going on. So bullshit. Yes, they're fleeing socialism and communism and dictatorship, but we have 8 billion people in the planet. What are we supposed to let them open the door for 8 billion people? No, we can't do that. So they're playing the system, and it really comes down to the United Nations. If you want to go granular on me, it's all the United Nations and the global compact of immigration. That's the common denominator for all this good. So,
Interesting. Do they expect that you're going to be sympathetic to their story because you speak Spanish with them?
I don't know what they expect when I talk to them and interview them. They just sitting there and waiting. They're in limbo. Actually, when I talk to them, I don't see it sympathetic. Some of them will get angry because I think when I'm there, someone tells them that he's there, he's against your guys, he's trying to agitate you. So they clam up once that word gets around by the NGOs. I think the NGOs are starting to, when they get processed in, I think the NGOs are telling them do not talk to people outside with cameras, because I've seen that there's a lot of, when I go there, the faces are different every time I go because they've been processed. Mm-hmm. But now when they see me, they kind of clam up, and I think it's the NGO telling them not to talk to me.
How interesting. What about the folks that you're walking up? Describe the scene as you walk in, and we'll show the video, before you got arrested the other day. But what are you walking into, and what do you usually see, and who's out there, and what's the protest, all that kind of stuff?
So yeah, this center holds 700 illegals.
Okay.
They're processing about 1,000 a day. So you got people actually sitting outside in chairs and picnic tables, sleeping on the floor outside the perimeter of the complex. I got video of that. Sleeping on dirt because the place is full. It just doesn't hold enough people, and they're not processing quickly enough. Not only that, bro, but Kyle, that's a welcome center. You know what a welcome center is? You go to the tourist welcome center in any town. You go there to pick up some pamphlets and go.
Yep.
These people are sitting there because they have nowhere to go. They have no sponsors. They have no next of kin. They have no money.
So yeah, you have people sleeping in outside the perimeter of the building. People are free to come and go. They walk in the streets of San Antonio. These are unvetted people that are walking the streets. There's a subdivision right across the backyard of that center.
Do you have a sense on how they get into the welcome center? What's transporting them there?
Oh, you got the buses that are coming in through private vendors.
Okay.
Yeah, they got contracts with the government. These are coach buses that fits 60 people in each coach bus, and it's a 24-hour, 7-day operation, bro. And they're coming in from Eagle Pass, Rio Grande, and maybe Laredo, if I might be correct. But yeah, they're coming in.
So they're coming in from all over the Rio Grande Valley. They're getting bussed in by these, I guess they're NGOs that are running the buses. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're coming in. Who runs the welcome facility? Is that the city of San Antonio, or is that federal?
So the building was purchased 3 years ago by a special friend of the mayor. Yeah. And I forgot what country he was from, but he got a sweetheart deal, and then he turns around and leases it to the city of New York, city of San Antonio. And so it's privately owned building, not a city-owned building. They subleasing it, and so it has a big parking lot, and they restructured the interior. They added showers in the facility. I hear reports sometimes they don't work, but I hear reports that they're commingling children with military-aged men, and I hear stories that some of them get booted out, some of these men, because they're trying funny stuff, sexually harassing the children. So it's not a good sight, man.
And you said that they're free to go wherever they want. They're being processed by is it federal officials that are processing them there in the
yeah, to answer your question, the NGO that's processing is called Endeavors.
Okay, I've heard of that.
The Catholic Charities.
Yeah.
Endeavors is a non-for-profit faith-based organization founded here in San Antonio. I did my research on them. It's about 12 Lutheran and Presbyterian Methodist churches. They started taking federal money grant when they opened up a new division for migrant crisis in 2013. Before that, they were helping veterans and homeless and things like that, right? So they've been on the take for at least 10 years now. So they're running the show, these NGOs, and I got them on tape too. They're arguing with me at the gate, but they are part of the aiding and abetting of illegal, which is a crime. So those are the players.
When we get finished here, people are going to want to go see some of this footage. Where can they go see your videos? You said you got a Rumble channel, so where would they go?
Yeah, Rumble is my name, Hernando Arce, just like you see down there on there should be some type of title there.
Yep.
And I'm on X, Hernando Arce. I've been doxxed already, so I'm not scared to put my real name. I'm not gonna go Hernando Patriot, whatever. But I've been doxxed already. So you can come and try to, hurt me and make me lose my job. I don't care. Yeah, come and get it. So yeah, that's where you can follow me.
And let me spell your last name for people, because we have an audio podcast as well, and people listen to this, so they're going to hear it's ARCE, pronounced RC, but spelled Alpha Romeo Charlie Echo RC. Yes.
Yes, that's my last name. My first name is Hernando.
Yep, and Hernando. So Hernando Arce. Now you guys can spell it out. You can find it on X if you want to find it on X Twitter. You want to find it on Rumble. That's where you're going to go look and see some of these videos. And I saw some of your stuff. You're not aggressively confrontational. You got people that are supporting you in the streets. You're not making trouble. It doesn't look like, but you had a kind of a fun little run in a couple days ago.
I did. Before we go into that,
yes,
Kyle, documenting these people, I haven't seen anyone document the paperwork that they receive, these illegals, when they're at the border, right? They've been processed there. It takes a day or two to get processed at that border, which is called Mission Border Hope or something, right? Or another NGO out there in Eagle Pass, which is the main one, Eagle Pass, Del Rio, and also Del Rio. So they get these yellow envelopes. I'm sure you've seen them, right? These yellow envelopes. I ask these people, because sometimes I'm wearing a Border Patrol hat and they're coming out the gate because they're free to go every day. So I say, what do you got? Let me see your paperwork. So, they're submissive. They'll pull out the paperwork and I read it. So I got a couple of videos where I actually read page by page every part of those documents that they received. They're actually arrested. They're on parole.
Yes, they're parolees into the country.
Right.
Same as the Afghans were.
Exactly. So that nowhere in those documents does it say refugee asylum. That comes later if you can get to that stage. But it says they're paroled. They have another date of appearance for immigration court through ICE
for violations of our immigration law.
Very good. Well, a lot of people don't understand this. They don't know what's in those documents. So I took the courage enough to go and make them pull it out, and I read every page, and it's on my X account. So go look for it. It's a fascinating what those documents read. That they could be deported after they see that judge. I don't know what's going on with those judges at ICE. Are they all just stamping them to go and then go into the interior and stay out there until they officially apply for a refugee asylum? Most of them aren't. Most of them don't even show up at court. 90% don't show up at court.
That's right.
They're in the shadows forever, brother. 10 million already.
I'll let people know that they can check out. We did a video with Aaron Stevenson, who is a whistleblower coming out of DHS. His handle is called out DHS. You guys may see him. The video was called "Who Did We Let In?" We talked about the Afghan crisis and the people that we brought in there, which was obviously a big problem. But on top of that, what he mentioned to me is the immigration judges are actually pretty good. What they call administrative judges, they do a pretty good job of throwing people out. About 80% of them get denied. But what they're trying to do, and DHS is actually trying to do right now, is reverse the process so that these officials that are administrative officials within the agency get to make the call and not a judge. And they have about an 80% approval rate. So they're trying to flip it from kicking 80% of the people out that show up to keeping 80% of the people. And you can tell that's just a complete flip on its head. People can check that out. You might want to see that as well. But Aaron Stevenson is a great resource for this stuff. And that's what they're hoping is going to happen. These administrative judges actually do a decent job. They just take forever because the backlog is so big. And of course, they're overwhelmed as well. You said 10 million people. I want you to do kind of a quick thought. Everybody kind of agrees. Do you have any idea how much money is involved in being transported to the United States for the cartels or the coyotes, what they're getting in payment? Do you have a sense of what that number is?
I speak to these migrants about that. I spoke to one Mexican lady with 3 kids who came into the border. I said, how much did you pay the cartel? She said nothing. I said, why? She goes, because I'm Mexican. They actually gave her a pass because she was Mexican.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Mexicans, they had an exclusivity on this border for 100 years. So they're so jealous. They're jealous right now of the Mexican illegals. That was their thing, right? Now they're getting bombarded by 160 countries. So they're jealous. But I speak to these Venezuelans, and I've gotten $2,000. From $2,000 to $200. I say, well, how did you just pay $200 to the cartel? They say, because I came already. I was already at the border, man. I was just at the river. So, they're not going to hit me for $2,000. They just hit them for $200.
Interesting.
So, it depends on what part of town, how far you're coming in.
So they could be anywhere from 200 to 2,000. We've heard numbers as much as 10 or 20,000 if there's going to be children smuggled. Some of those are probably indentured servants. I'm sure they give a big high dollar, and they didn't negotiate well, right?
Yeah, the big numbers is, from what I hear Venezuelans tell me, because they say, yeah, I got Chinese and I got all these Arabs coming up from the jungle of Panama, the Darien Gap. And I said, well, how come I don't see? Because I don't see any Chinese. All I see is Venezuelans and Central Americans at the center. I said, well, I haven't seen one Chinese here, bro. I see Asians. And he says, no, they're taken through a different way, man. The cartels take them every someplace, and they pay a lot more money. They pay $10,000 per head for Chinese, or something like that. He was telling me. So there's something going on where I don't see any Chinese in my center, man. And we know they're coming in, and these Arabs. They caught an Arab, Iranian, just the day I was there. I was there yesterday, Sunday. I was at the Eagle Pass. That morning, they caught a freaking Iranian, a high priority suspect.
Yeah, and if people listen to our interview with Aaron, they're going to find out too that these numbers are actually capped. Like our watch list doesn't have an infinite number of spaces on it. So at some point we stop tracking these people. Major concerns. You're out there doing the good work of videoing these people, trying to just get kind of like some eyes on a citizen journalist, which so many people are doing. You said that you think that's God's mission. Can you set up the clip? We're going to show the video that I saw on Twitter of you getting taken into custody by someone who must be very proud of himself. Maybe set up the scenario of what you were filming that day and what the interactions had been like earlier before that moment.
Okay, Kyle. Well, it was your typical brisk day for the NGOs, where you had hundreds of people outside, and typical day, and I'm just there filming. I was by myself, which is not very common. Usually, I have someone watching my six, but I was there by myself, and I noticed like this bus I have never seen before. Usually, I notice the buses. It's the same buses, right? Same contractors. This one had it was more like a state prison bus. And it had like prison bars on the window, so that caught me off guard. And then when I saw the driver, he had like a military uniform, like it wasn't CHP Border Patrol. It looked something different. So, and it had an insignia on the driver's side on his sleeve. So I try to get a better view of it, take a snapshot of it, so I can go do my research on it. And so I had actually walked in like 10 feet into the parking lot there, and thinking that no one was going to see me because the police are on the other side, right?
Is there a gate at the parking lot? What is the divider between the parking lot and the rest of the world?
It's fucking open, man. It's open 24 hours. There's no gate. There's no,
You could drive in there if you wanted, right? And do it.
Yeah. It's got a stop sign. There's no do not enter. There's no trespassing signs. Nothing.
Okay. All right. So that's the setup. And so you do this video. Can we show the video? Is that going to make sense? And then you're going to talk about it?
Yeah, I took the snapshot and I walked back out, not knowing that the police was following me. And then I saw there was a pickup truck there, some bunch of gringos saying, "What's going on in there, man?" And I said, "Yo, these are illegal immigrants, man." And that's when the police arrives.
Okay, let's roll this clip so people can see it with their own eyes of what it is. They'll be able to assess how reasonable. But I saw the same thing that you just described. So go ahead and run that one if you're ready, Ryan.
Bus. That looks like Border Patrol. He had like a insignia. CNS Secure Solutions. CS. See that emblem there on his sleeve? It's like a security. I don't know what that is. We'll have to look into that. Oh, excuse me. Yes, sir. These are called illegal immigrants. Oh, they are? Okay. Yeah, there's hundreds of thousands of them. Well, excuse me, sir. Oh, easy there, buddy.
Hey,
easy there.
I just tried to see.
I don't need ID.
You just criminally trespassed.
No,
right
I
now.
didn't.
All right.
I did not.
Turn around.
Oh, what are you doing?
Turn around.
This guy's arresting me. Hold on. Hey, easy. I'm not resisting.
Turn around.
I'm not resisting.
Turn around.
I'm not resisting, officer.
Turn around. Don't see where you go.
He must be really proud of himself. So he went straight from zero to get your hands behind your back and put you into an armbar.
Yep.
Tell me about that. What did that feel like?
Unexpected. The irony was, if you look carefully at that video, I was wearing a San Antonio Police Department shirt, SAPD shirt. And they saw me wearing it because I was filming the whole day there. They were looking at my insignia, my emblem here, my shirt. It said SAPD, so they would know I'm pro police. That's the first thing. That was the first day I wore that shirt. So that shirt brought me bad luck or good luck or whatever, however you want to see it. There, right there, you can see it's a gray flannel.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm wearing my red cap. I was shocked, man. Listen, I know the laws, bro. If I'm going to be trespassing, I need to be told that the owner or the lease, the tenant has to complain to the police officer and tell them that I want him trespassed. You know, the police cannot make that decision for themselves. Number one. Number two, they have to give you a warning. I wasn't even given a warning. So this is all, you know, so it was bullshit, man. And not cool.
Were you charged with something, or did they simply just take you into custody and release you?
So when he arrested me, he was hurting me, man.
Sure.
I was shocked. You know, listen, I'm holding an American flag, for God's sakes. I got one. Listen, I'm holding an American flag. I'm holding my fucking camera. I was still able to get the footage. How you like those apples?
Yeah.
Okay. So kudos to me. Now, what was the question? It's just, what's the fuck, man?
They brought you into custody, but did they end up charging you? Are you facing charges for that, or did they end up dropping and releasing you?
So they took my freedom away. They handcuffed me. They hurt me, handcuffing. They took me into the tent. They detained me.
Yep.
Started asking me questions. They have all my private information. So now they know where I live. They know my name. So I'm sure they're going to use that in the future.
Did they give you a Miranda warning? Did they tell you the Miranda rights?
They did not give me my Miranda rights. I don't even know if their camera was on. I'm going to go and file a report and get to the department and make a complaint. And I'm going to ask for the footage. What do you call that?
Yeah, the body cam footage.
Yeah, Freedom of Information Act. Right, body cam.
Yep.
So I'm going to work on that. If they had it on, I didn't see the red blinking thing, so I don't think he had it on. So yeah, to answer your question, Kyle, Ryan, they had a little powwow after they had me in handcuffs. You know, they were asking me questions and shit. So after about 20 minutes, they said, "Okay, sir, stand up. We're releasing you, and this is a warning not to do that again." Blah blah blah. You know, man, cops explaining what they did, and they let me go. I was not officially charged or fingerprinted, nothing like that.
And no ticket, no citation,
no summons, no.
And they didn't give you a Miranda warning, but they were asking you questions. Were those questions about what you were doing there, or were they simply your identifiers?
Yeah, they were asking, like, you know, I've seen you before, man. You know, you do this a lot. Yeah, like, you know, things of that general questions that they also, which I thought was funny. When they ran my license and everything, because I gave them my information, my date of birth and all that shit.
Sure.
So I see you have a commercial driver license, a CDL. I said, yeah. He goes, what are you, a truck driver? I said, I work in commercial. I didn't want to get into details.
Yep.
He goes, you know, if you get a summons or arrested or whatever, it's going to affect your job. You know that, right? You know, you're going to have points or whatever on your license, man. You can, you know, it's going to affect your job. So that was a form of intimidating me in a way too, you know. So. Yeah, the officer's name is Officer Robles. I don't have his ID number, badge number, but it's Officer Robles, the tyrannical cop.
Yeah, and that seemed really fast to escalate from that. You've seen law enforcement interactions your whole life. Did it surprise you how quickly he came at you?
Dude, he came out of nowhere. He came from my back, so I didn't see my six that he was coming up behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me for my ID. I'm like, I know the law. I don't have to give him my ID unless I'm suspected of crime.
Right.
I'm like, what are you talking about? A criminal trespassing. Really? Bullshit. There's a form of intimidation. It's also a form of trying to find out who we were. I mean, you know, we park our car across the parking lot, but I think it was a form of trying to find out, okay, who, because I'm one of the major players there, you know, in the group that I'm in, Beyond the Mask. I'm one of the major organizers there. So sure. I think it was a way of getting intel on me and my group.
And were there other police officers that were backing his play that seemed like they thought he was being reasonable, or were they worried, do you think?
The officers that were there, they were changing their shift. So they were, you know, to be honest, there was one cop, younger cop, man. I never seen him there before. It was the first time I saw him there. He had my flag and my phone, and, you know, he kind of mumbled to me real quietly when I was getting released. He goes, dude, man, I don't know if he said, I'm on your side, or he said, we're on your side, or something like that. So that's, you know, give him kudos for that. But, you know, most of the guys there are bad cops, man. There's another sergeant there, tall dude, Mexican. I have footage where he's telling me, because I'm filming him taking out the illegals off the street because it doesn't look bad. Because when I show up, they start moving all these illegals from the sidewalk in the dirt and say, get out of here, or move to a different area, because they don't want that film get into the mayor because it'll embarrass the mayor and the chief. So one time I'm filming, right, and he's telling everyone, get the fuck off, get off the ground, get off the dirt, off the trees. And I said, he's doing this because I'm here. He turns around and said, no, you're doing this because you want views on your YouTube channel. I said, no, I'm not. And then he says, and look at you, you're carrying your gun on my waist, because those guys are criminals. All these people there, most of them are criminals. So I got to protect myself, these illegals. So
and in Texas, you can.
Yeah, in Texas, you can open carry. He goes, you're an idiot. He called me an idiot for open carrying my gun. This guy had 30 years in the force.
This is a police officer that is open carrying a gun as well.
Yeah, he's open carrying, right?
Is he an idiot?
He's a dirty cop, to say that much. So he's always, he knows my face.
They know your face. You think they were trying to get intel on you and your group, and they think that what you're doing is looking bad. Do you think any of them have any shame about what was going on there? Did anyone seem like they were any of the normal guys you see?
No, they have no shame. The police, when they released me, I got my flag. I went back out and I started chanting, libertad, libertad, to all these Venezuelans, they could be right behind me for liberty, and they weren't chanting with me. They were like shocked. They were shocked. And I said, yeah, man, these fucking police officers, they work with the Venezuelan president, Maduro. Maduro told them to go and arrest me. I was playing with them, I was just joking with them, but they thought that was funny. But no, there's so many stories when I go there, man. It's incredible. And every day is different, bro. So it's kind of like, interesting. So that's what happened. And, I'm just disappointed in that I live in San Antonio, which is a military city, Kyle. And I'm like, where are the cowboys with the white hat, man? That's why I came to Texas. Where is that Texas culture of not in my backyard and come and take it, man? Anthony Aguro? Anthony Aguro, the journalist that's always at the border?
Okay.
So he was there with me at a protest. We had a big protest. We're going to have a bigger protest in November. Maybe I could give you a shout out on that with Ryan, right? Thank you, Ryan Mata. And he was there, and he said something that really stuck to me. He says that the come and take it the come and take it slogan that we have in Texas, which means come and take the gun, right? He says, yeah, that's it right there. Don't tread on me, kind of thing. He said that's become a bumper sticker, man. It's become a bumper sticker. Where are the men? Where are the Christian men to stand up to this tyranny? Nowhere. There's only a handful of us in our group, and I know there's millions around the country, but in Texas, man, Texas is letting me down, bro. So. Kudos to Anthony Guru for saying that, because that's so true, man. That's all I say is I just tell these people, whoever's watching this, man, I'm just a regular dude. I drive, for a living. This is my company's emblem right there, man. But you need to just get off the fucking lazy chair, put the burrito down, like I say, and stop drinking the Bud Light and start taking some action, man. I know today's the Cowboy game tonight. There's a Dallas Cowboys are playing tonight. These men they know the stats in the back of their hand for these Cowboy games, but they don't even know their Bill of Rights, and they're more excited about a game. But meanwhile, come and take it. These illegals are fucking taking it, man. They're taking it from you right there who's watching this shit. So you need to start taking some action, man. Peaceful action.
That's a solid pitch. Let me ask you this: are they going to keep you away? Have they scared you off? Are you done reporting?
No, they didn't mention that. No, I'm not done reporting. I actually want to go there right now and do some footage. Okay. So they're not stopping me, man. That's made us stronger, man. Listen, I have nothing. I have nothing to lose, bro. Not that I want to lose anything, but I can understand people have family, wife, kids. I don't have any of that. You want to put me in the gulag? Go ahead, man. But join the J6ers. Fuck it. I'll do whatever I got to do to preserve our country, to conserve our Constitution, conserve our country. Although right now it's not looking too well, man. But as a men of faith, you and I, we believe that there's a higher power and that we will be victorious at the end. That's what keeps me going.
Yeah, nobody says we have to win right now, do they?
No.
It's a long game. Tell people again where they can follow you, where they can connect with you. I know some people are probably going to want to come out and see what you're about. They're going to want to go out there and watch your six sometimes. So how can people make that connection again? We'll plug all those socials again.
I appreciate that. Listen, this is the 21st century battle of the Alamo. I live in San Antonio, home of the Alamo. Well, guess what? as those men 187 years ago, those David Crockett, the William Travises, and the Bowies, 200 people, including women, who were up against 3,000 military men of General Santa Anna.
Mhm.
Right, thank you. They fought that battle. They lost that battle, but we won the war. This is the 21st century of that Alamo, man. So where are today's Crockett's and Travises and Bowies? I ask you, this is a call to all you men to stand up, man, and women too. Our group has some amazing women, bro. They don't even need bullhorns, bro. They are fucking loud, man. So we need the men and women to stand up, man. This is the 21st century Alamo, because in that time they were fighting for their sovereignty. It was the sovereignty of Texas, but now we're fighting that same sovereignty, that national sovereignty, not just for Texas, but for the country, the United States of America. So this is your time. Will you stand up or not, man? And so you could catch myself on X, Hernando Arce, and on Rumble, and Hernando Arce. Thank you guys for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on, folks. Those are going to all be in the description of the video, so you'll be able to find them on the channel here. We'll tag you on the release on there when this video goes live. And be safe, man. I appreciate what you're saying. I think that that attitude, it's really important right now. I always tell people, like, no one's coming to save us. It's up to us. And I appreciate that you're a man who's out there doing that thing. You're getting out those videos, staying peaceful and giving people the information.
And thank you. And you can see I'm wearing a Trump hat, but I did not mention Trump one moment in this whole interview. Not about
true.
Trump.
Except when I asked you, which is totally fair. Totally fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Not Trump, man. He did have the lowest amount of illegals coming in through our border in his tenure, but this is much bigger than just Trump, man. He's not coming to save you either.
He's not coming to save anybody either. That's exactly right. He's got a lot of problems right now. Hernando Arce, thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate all the time you've given us, and I look forward to seeing some more of this reporting. I'm going to start following your Rumble channel right now.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, brother.
Peace out.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You've been listening to the Kyle Seraphin Show, streamed live from Liberty Hill, Texas, here at 0930 Eastern Time. That is 8:30 here in Texas, America, right here, smack dab, north and west of Austin, Texas. We do appreciate all of you listening. We appreciate you sharing this on social media, that you continue to help our show grow. And you do so in a couple of ways, including leaving us 5-star reviews on places like Apple Podcasts. Today's review comes from Tobdean. It says, great podcast, 5 stars, right up there with Daniel Horowitz and Steve Ducey on my list to listen to if you ever want to learn things and hear the hard truth. Well, that's what we're trying to bring you. The hard truth. Why? So you can do something about it. So you can not be afraid and continue to go out there and be Americans who exercise that First Amendment right, keeping us away from having to use that Second Amendment right. We do always appreciate you joining us in the live chat. Please make sure you are following us at rumble.com/Kyle Seraphin, rumble.com/Kyle Seraphin. And you can support our merch store if you want to support my buddy Garrett O'Boyle and the Suspendables. Check out the-suspendables.com, the-suspendables.com. Again, same promo code Kyle. Check out any of these cool guys here, including this one, the merch bundle. What does it look like? It looks like 3 pins for $30. Normally $14.99. Get 3 for $30 with free shipping. And join us out there in the world. We're going to be supporting them and showing them off tonight at Mar-a-Lago. So definitely check out the Suspendables lapel pin and all the other good stuff over at Garrett's webpage. Again, the-suspendables.com, the-suspendables.com. Promo code Kyle gets you a couple bucks off. You might as well use it. And folks, that is our show for today. We thank you so much for joining us on the Kyle Seraphin Show. We will see you again tomorrow. God bless you. Be safe. And till next time, here we go.
Thanks for listening to the Kyle Seraphin Show, streamed live weekdays on rumble.com/Kyle Seraphin. Follow Kyle on Twitter, Truth Social, and Instagram at Kyle